I'm Tony Sklar with bnetTV. We are here at Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. I am speaking with Mavenir's Terry McCabe. How are you today, sir?
Very good. It's been a great show.
It's grown tremendously since last year.
Yes, it's much more vibrant, and I think there's a lot more real announcements, real information, real news coming across this year.
And a lot of different areas of the ecosystem too. I mean, last year there was sort of a heavy influence on, more infrastructure. LTE is coming. Well, now LTE is deployed, and the over-the-top carriers are pushing, data to the consumers who are trying to get a good experience on the handsets, and the manufacturers that are pushing out the devices that are faster. And it's just this chain of evolution that's just pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed.
I think there's some great things going on there, and the new players coming in, we're actually seeing some real innovation, and I'm really excited to see that it's not just the GSM Association making announcements. People are actually announcing services, and they're talking about how the impact of those new services, those over-the-top services, are changing the way operators think. And for me, I think that's very important. Operators need to move more quickly.
And so the over-the-top players, though, get the benefit of the infrastructure that's in place, and they're obviously pushing the carriers to put in new infrastructure. But again, they don't suffer the cost consequence up front. Inevitably, they're riding off the backs of the carriers. If you want to put it that way, the over-the-top players get to sort of push that, right?
Yeah, they are getting that benefit, but the other side of it is they're actually taking risks. And if you look at things like person-to-person messaging, they're introducing new user experiences, and they're doing it more innovatively, more effectively. They're taking risks, and some of them aren't working out, but the things that are working out are quickly promoted, and we're moving on with them. And I think taking that approach and bringing some of that back to the operator, showing the operator some benefit from this, that's where we're all benefiting. It's a case of making the pie bigger, not just looking at whether it's an OTT person who makes the money or whether it's the operator who makes the money.
So that was very well said and very well put, and I can appreciate where you're coming from. So actually, let's move right into where Mavenir is positioned within the this arena, the ecosystem, and what you've just recently announced.
Okay, so yesterday we announced our mobile cloud messaging, and the real concept with that is putting OTT into the hands of the operator, allowing the operator to create an OTT experience that has the benefits of the operator assets, not just the network, but authentication, charging, the control of the mobile number, these assets which are very valuable, brought into an OTT experience. It's think of it as an early adopter way to get RCS messaging experience out there where there isn't IMS deployed today. Now, we know RCS is coming,
right?
But RCS has been coming for a long time.
So is NFC.
Well, exactly, but this is a way in which the OTT model shows you that you can push applications out there today, launch those services, and get subscriber feedback. If we need to adjust these things, let's adjust them quickly, fail fast, and move on. And I think that's something that OTT can bring to the operator. And I'm delighted with the feedback we're getting. I've talked to a lot of operators in the last couple of days, and they're all anxious to be able to get some personal experience of these over-the-top services and not just read about it in the newspapers from other people.
So inevitably, is that allowing the carrier, the operator, to increase their ARPU because there are these services that they're going to be able to provide? And again, we can even swing back to the mobile payments because that's one of the things that is a good flavor of the show as well.
Well, directly monetizing it is one way, charging for the service is one thing. But the truth is, we've seen the report last week from Ovum talking about close to $13 billion in operator revenues in messaging simply going away to over the top.
Right.
So with that happening today, the operator can't just stand still.
No.
They've got to do something, and this is something where even if they're not directly monetizing, they can put advertising, promotion of their own services, they can draw people into experiences on a portal, on the device. There's lots of things that they can add to the messaging experience that make it compelling.
And does that also allow them to keep customer loyalty is going to be the big thing because they keep the customer in-house, which is directly related to the ARPU, and
well, yeah, it keeps the customer, it keeps the the user experience with the operator. It keeps the customer association of person-to-person communication with the operator, and I think that's fundamentally important. And if you look at iMessage, look at all of the investment that Apple have made in iMessage simply in order to be able to touch and feel every message that passes between you and your communicating buddies. The operator has had that advantage for a long time. Let's not lose it now. It's a very valuable asset.
So you bring up a really good point, but BlackBerry, RIM was at the top of the food chain when it came to that particular style of messaging or the technology, and Apple did a great job in putting that into place in the generation of OS that's out there right now, and everybody else needs to follow suit.
Everybody else needs to follow suit and try to add value.
Right.
Just copying Apple isn't enough. I think Apple, we all talked about iMessage back in Q4. Well, the Q1 news there is iMessage on the operating system of the desktop. So bringing the messaging experience that you have on your devices and having a multi-device experience on the desktop, it looks and feels like Skype. It's seamless. It's really great integration with your desktop. Only weakness is it only works if you're an all Apple user, but it is something that shows where the future may lie. Right. So taking that messaging, taking it from your mobile device onto your tablet, onto your desktop, and having that same experience wherever you go, now that's something the operator can gain from.
I also think that's something that the consumer is really driving towards. I know just from a personal standpoint, if I'm sitting at my desk, which is rare, as our viewers know, but if I'm sitting at my desk or I'm on a tablet or I'm on my laptop, I want to be able to message people in a manner that I don't have to use 10 different systems to be able to do. I do want it sort of in a compelling area where I know that teams are on the road. I have to communicate with these people. They SMS through the desktop is sort of a different type of procedure. So you're right there.
And also, let's face it, it's not very smart when you've got a perfectly good keyboard in front of you to be sitting there at your desk typing on a touchscreen.
Right.
So just making it easier, the ability to cut and paste things into that interface, people expect this. They've grown used to it from things like Skype. So now let's bring it into the mobile domain. And an operator who can keep their icon on your desktop all day has a very, very valuable asset. And I think that's not lost on a lot of people that we talk to.
Okay, so speaking to that powerful tool, you announced it. How far away are we from that practical application?
Q2 we expect to be rolling things out. Okay. It's something. It's not like a network renewal where you need all of the infrastructure to be upgraded. This is something that can be deployed based on public cloud, on operator cloud, or as a deployed system in the network. So we can move very, very quickly indeed. Really the lead time is creating the brand identity on the application to brand it for the individual operator.
So we're ending off Q1 here pretty quickly. Q2's coming up pretty
Absolutely.
fast. The operators, they're going to be beating down the door. Then the being able to get the architecture into place for it to be able to use, I guess, the actual deployment time, is it viable?
Yes, it is, because it is low touch, and we've designed it from the outset. It leverages the learnings of RCS, but it doesn't require that IMS core to be implemented. It plugs into your existing legacy infrastructure using, easy-to-use interfaces. You can do it without any equipment being delivered into your environment, and that's a key thing. That's a lesson from the OTT players. Do it in the cloud. It means you can start small, grow as you see new traffic, take it in-house if you need to eventually, but start with a minimal investment.
So do you think that, and this is a loaded question, but do you think that this, here it comes, do you think that this is going to spawn another set of innovation for new players to enter with products that are going to be designed to work within that environment?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the intention. You
mentioned advertising.
Well,
so,
the other piece of this, one of the ways I could put this is the APIs and the way in which our client interworks with our server infrastructure is open.
Okay.
Our client we think it's a good client. Someone else comes along and wants to build an embedded application that's an enterprise messaging, that's a customized messaging, taking it as a wholesale service from the operator and building a new experience on top of it. Great. we're bringing a client to market in order to drive the server side of the business here, because we think that's what the real value is.
So inevitably that SMS revenue isn't lost so much within there. It's going to respawn in new technologies.
Absolutely. And we can bring new innovators in, because just as the operators aren't going to have every good idea in the world, we know we're not going to have every good idea in the world. We open up the interfaces and allow other people to work in the ecosystem.
Terry, congratulations on the announcement. You're well positioned within the marketplace. I look forward to another a chance for an update, because it's just going to be expanding upon what we've just been talking about, which has been fantastic.
Thank you very much.
I've been speaking with Mavenir's Terry McCabe. I am Tony Sklar here in Barcelona at the Mobile World Congress with bnetTV.